Same people, same places, same parties. Am I just a ghost at night? Too many street lights in this city, I'm missing our ocean side. I've been running, but I can't escape the feeling that I've been away for far too long. There's something about our love that brings me peace of mind. Something special about the way our lives are intertwined. There's something about you that just leaves me mystified. Something pulling me to your heart, and I always want you by my side. Keep your body next to mine. People, new places, we're the same. A moment frozen in time. Wish I could relive the day I met you and fall in love a second time. I could run, but I know I can't escape the feeling if I'm far away from you for too long. There's something
Hello, hello. Happy end of 2020. I have no idea what is going to happen with this overlay the moment it ticks over, because I haven't actually tested it that extensively. So we'll see. Hey Elf, how you doing? I've got a few things slightly different for stream today. It's just a matter of making sure it all works, you know? I will say, my lights, not as in your face as I was expecting, which is good. I've been good. It's been an interesting year. But yeah, what's also funny is this remote controls both the lights under my desk and one's above. So that's fun too. I also haven't decided on which songs in Approaching Nirvana's new album I want to use as my intro. So I just started from the beginning and we'll kind of go from there, really. But I've got some pieces already set up for this new PXE boot. The rest will all do together, because I don't actually remember how to do certain parts. So it's going to be an experiment. Okay, let's see what this thing does. Because if it does what I think it does, I have to manually remove each entry. Yeah, okay. We're not going to keep that. There we go. Okay. Well, it's a good place to start. I was going to write some JavaScript to kind of scrap each line when it hit 0000000, but I wasn't sure if it would do that or something else. Now we know. I'm not going to bother writing anything extra now. So, I would like to introduce you to my new Intel NUC right here. It's only here for the duration of the setup. Once it's done, I'm going to move it over to where my TV is. But this little guy will be my new PXE host. Now, whether I remember how to do all the stuff to make a PXE host is a whole other story. But that's the fun part. The good news is that I have spent today getting the other parts all working. So, let's load this up here, and I can show you the little amount that I've got working so far. So I've already run through a basic guide that sets up the boot directory, which gives us a basic grub config. Hey Sonic. Well, a lot of it today is going to be starting from the middle of nowhere, so could get interesting. But basically, vertical. Well, there were a couple points today where I was like, I don't feel like doing it, and then eventually went, you know what? Why not? It's the one thing I look forward to for the end of the year, you know. Now let's connect to my old host. So we have a few things we need to copy over. If we go to tftp boot, you'll notice that that has boot, grub, a list of kernels, and a readme file, which is very simple. Basically a note to myself. But that contains all of the bits we need to actually boot. And then NFS root contains the actual files for the host. And in this case, diskless is the only one we really care about. I debated copying over the existing install to the new one, It should be in here. You can see it's empty. Total 0 files. But I thought, you know what? I've had enough weird issues with the current one where it currently won't boot on my main computer, which is where I like to use it most. But I might as well try and by rebuilding it from scratch. Now, I am TeamViewered in. That's not what I wanted to launch anyway. No worries, Elf. Thanks for stopping by. Happy New Year to you. So the plan here is, this guy's got a base memory of 4. I think this might have to be a bit lower. This one? Oh, because it's in a pseudo sleep mode. How much available RAM do I have? I'm only using 2.5. Okay, let's see if this breaks. But basically, I've copied over some files. Oh, I need to... There are a couple virtualization issues I have to do, because I haven't actually set up this Nook with virtualization, so we'll do that later. I did make myself a cup of tea, which is going to be great. So here's the tricky bit. I have a couple guides open, because when we did this last, it was a little janky for the initial setup. The problem is, the repository that we have here just has the grub installation stuff. As you can see. So the challenge is that I don't actually know how to generate these files here. There was one guide I saw that basically said use the ISO, but that I'm confused about that, because if I pull up the ISO, media, this thing's weird, I don't like it. Alright. So here's the Ubuntu ISO extractor. I'm gonna have to connect to my laptop for a sec. It's struggling a bit, but that's fine. So what I need to do here is verify that I'm not crazy. Yeah, these files are not what I'm looking for. Because this is grub, which is neat. It's a loopback. There's our RAM disk and our kernel. So yeah, I don't know how this is supposed to help, because that's definitely not the Linux file system that I need. Unless I should be looking at this 4 gig one here. No. Also not what I'm looking for. These are two very different image files. Just to confirm, my mic sounds okay today, yeah? See, I don't know how the ISO is supposed to help. So, generate PXE environment. Yeah, this is the one I saw earlier. Where it was basically like, here's the ISO, right? And then copy the stuff from... Let's verify I'm not crazy. Viewer. So, install... Yeah, there's no... Those files don't really exist anymore. Install /net. Because I don't care about those. I need an actual... These files are not what I need. It does this weird thing with local sources, which we don't really have access to anymore. So, let's see if these instructions are different. Boot screens. None of this covers what I'm looking for. Alright. I know there's like one particular command that exists that would do this for me. I think it's safe to skip that one a bit. Also, I need to check. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna need Nginx. I did originally set this guy up with Apache. If we go to... Come on! But I prefer Nginx configs, so... Let's get that all installed. So... Oh, that's right. ifconfig isn't a thing anymore. I want to say it was on 194. There was some ridiculous. There we go. 192 is the correct one. So Nginx is now running. So there. Let me grab some. Okay, I found the sticky note that we used in the office when we were originally setting all of this up. So I have all... I have the basics. And actually most of that is pretty old, but that's fine. At the very least, I need to see what file was in root. Aha. Right, because we needed a static IP, and that was the easiest way to hard-code it. Gotcha. Okay, and then on top of that, we also need this one, which we had some weirdness with. That's why I have it 3 levels deep. But essentially, these first 2 lines are what we actually care about. So let's copy that over now. I thought I installed an FS server. I remember there being like one command that would just generate all of the files we need. And then we copied a bunch of stuff over. I may not actually get this working today. That is a distinct possibility. Okay, I didn't install the NFS server. There you go. And I completely missed the That's okay. That one doesn't matter yet. That's the one that matters. We've still got 2.5 hours. That's alright. I'd rather it give me a template and I base my stuff on the template rather than, Yep. And that's not what I need. That's what I need. Cool. Although, that that'll have to be a link to my home directory, which is fine. Cool, what else are we looking at? TFTP boot, actually we can unman now. Unroot. DHCP. This one's the fun one. Because essentially, this did not copy over my nanocom. So much of this stuff just did not copy what I needed.
There's a place I can trace every line of me. I can taste every inch of the space I step into. Am I free? Sometimes I feel like I'm floating. Sometimes I feel something deep down. I don't know if the knot's gonna give up or if I'll turn.
Oh, because I'm running sudo, it doesn't use my config. Obvious. That makes There we go. That's all we need. So this is where it gets really interesting, because I'd probably be better off just copying the entire config file directly. Wait. How many lines are we working with? 70 lines. Alright. And essentially, we're just gonna do the super lazy copy pasta. Oh, that's gonna copy line numbers, isn't it? Hey Root, Happy New Year. I've still got a couple hours, as you can see. Oh, so the copy paste within Nano doesn't copy between... That's rude. There are lazier ways to do things. Sometimes you gotta go the hacky way. Okay. Now let's verify that's the path that we have. So... wrong one. CD boot. Okay. Now, I've spent quite some time perfecting this config file, so I'd rather keep it. There's a fair bit you can do on Linux. On Android with Linux. Cool. Yeah. Oh, I don't have permission to save in here. Fine. Fine by me. Probably worthwhile for root to be allowed to write that file, huh? Okay. We've got a config file. The fonts folder. Okay, and the things. That's fine, we'll worry about that later. If I'm right, this folder just has the entire OS. I like how all of these spend most of the time telling you how to set up the netbook. And all of them recommend PXE Linux. Okay, so they suggest downloading the ISO, mounting it, a big app. Well, that's the fun part, isn't it? Why are these screenshots so bad? Yeah, I haven't had a reason to try and only capture one app. Just performing some cleanup. Okay. So what does this do? Because I fear... I can't just run an install like that because of Secure Boot. If I configure this without Secure Boot initially, it's a pain in the butt to add it later. I'm 90% sure I can just copy most stuff over from the root level of the host. There were just some quirks that had to be dealt with. Alright, well, for now, let's... TeamViewer crashed on me. That's fun. I guess that's why it disappeared earlier. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to power off the... I'm going to power off the NUC. And this is my keyboard connected to said NUC. Fun fact that I just realized, I forgot to screw the NUC back in. So essentially, while the NUC is off, I can show you. So, here is a virtual machine, right? And what I can do with this virtual machine is I can tell it, rather than booting from a hard drive, boot from a network adapter. Essentially, when I click start, what it'll do is it'll look in the network for a PXE host. Well, really a DHCP server. And then that DHCP server will say, hey, here's a grub boot config, here's grub, and then from there, grub can go, hey, here's a copy of Ubuntu you can run. So then when you select that option, it literally copies, well, downloads the RAM disk, the kernel, from the server into RAM. And then from RAM, it mounts all of the actual files to the file system. And then essentially runs whatever that OS is locally. What that means is all of the files are stored elsewhere, and no matter which computer in the local network you're on, either in a virtual machine or on real hardware, you basically tell it network boot, and it'll boot into that Ubuntu copy. And by doing so, you have all the same files, all the same apps installed, which allows you to have a roaming installation of Ubuntu that can run on anything. And as you can see, this one, which is my existing one, it does function. However, it no longer seems to function on my real hardware. It only seems to work in a VM. If I try and boot it in real hardware, it'll get to this point and then hang, at least visually. It has trouble loading. I don't know if it's because of the stuff that's running in the background or what, but essentially it hangs visually. It never gets to the login screen. Now, because the server it's running from is only 100 megabit instead of gigabit, I'd like something a little faster. It's where this new comes in. But essentially what this does, once it finishes copying all the files over, is it actually then loads the proper login screen, and then I can just use it as a normal computer. And when I load it on real hardware, I also have access to a macOS VM where I can test stuff there as well. Now obviously it's not hardware accelerated, so it behaves really poorly, but at least that way I can test certain things even without a Mac, and in this case with Ubuntu. And most of the stuff I've been testing over the past couple months, hey Tim, how you doing? It's fine to do in a VM, but there are certain things that I'd like to test that I can't because when I try and boot, it just freezes during boot up. My guess is it's one of the NVIDIA drivers that's freaking out when I try and boot on real hardware, but I can't verify that for sure, and when I try and restart the desktop environment, nothing happens. So I've basically been stuck to using this in a VM. Realized I have these lights under my desk turned on. Because this one remote controls both the ones under my desk, these ones. My cat is also requesting... Yeah, pretty much. So as you can see, it's a bit slow for the startup. Once it's running, it's fine. But this initial startup is a bit of a pain because it's only running 100 megabit. If I were to pull up this one, you'll notice, firstly, that I've hit the command and it's sitting there. And once we're here, you can see that it is transferring, just not very quickly. And also the hard drive in it is old and getting slow. Whereas this new NUC has an SSD. So yeah, there it is. And now on this I can launch programs, I can do whatever I like, right? And this is all, the hardware it's using at the moment is the VM, but the files are hosted on the server. One sec. Hello? I hit the wrong hotkey initially and then forgot to mute, or at least didn't properly mute. I'm back. Yes, so that is the current situation, and so I'd rather switch to Gigabit for the server host, and to do that I need a transfer. Now one option was copy everything over, but if from the old machine to the new one. Now the problem with that is I'm not sure if that'll solve all my problems, just by copying everything over. So I'd rather try and rebuild it, mostly from scratch, reusing the configs, and hope for the best, basically. Alright, so... let's boot this, I'm gonna... left hand? Yeah. Oh. What's it? What? No, what are you doing? That's what I'm looking for. Hopefully. Essentially what I've done is I've got the NUC hooked up to my capture card. And then I'm currently remoting into my laptop for the capture card. Technically I could run a HDMI cable all the way around, or a really long USB cable, and I'd rather not. So you can actually see... I got them mixed up again. There's the NUC. There's a HDMI cable running straight into the laptop. Okay. So what we need to do... I'm going to check the advanced section. The problem is, there's a bit of a delay and it's a little sensitive. I guess it's under add-in config. No, that's network stack. Alright, let me quickly check something. Make sure I'm not crazy. Uh-huh. Okay. When you do a search for Intel, it gives you way too many results. Contact your motherboard. I don't... Ugh. I guess we're just gonna explore. I guess I could technically load up that, yeah. I wish they would let you just buy a standard user license. I'd use it a lot more. For a standard user license. Digital microphone, you say? I also like how you can just disable all sorts of things. Auto turn off TV, because it assumes it'll be connected to a TV. I guess it has an infrared sensor in the front, doesn't it? It's not surprising. I assumed virtualization would be something I have to turn on, but maybe it's just on by default. Or not available. Because Google doesn't tell me anything. I agree. F12 for network bridge. That's the plan, Tim, yes. I wonder. Although, I can technically just hit F10 to enter the boot menu. Alright. Let's see if this NUC can do what my computer at the moment can't. Okay. This... Oh, no, it did load. Okay. Well, let's see. So this is now the NUC that will be the server, currently being the client to the old server. Let's see if this works. Or at least how far it gets. Because the issue I've had with every other computer that we have in this house is they're all BIOS. None of them are UEFI, except for the computer I'm currently in front of. And so I can't verify if the stuff that's not working is the fault of some configuration on this computer or the server. I'm going to guess the server, but this will let me verify, because Hyper-V loads perfectly fine. And the problem with VirtualBox, PXE server, network boot. Essentially, you host grub and your entire file system on a server, and then basically download them at runtime to the computer that you actually want to boot on. Which gives you full access to the local hardware without actually dual booting. And allows you to do that on any computer on that network, including virtual machines. The frustrating thing, though, is VirtualBox does not contain a UEFI capable boot system. And it also doesn't contain... And it doesn't contain Secure Boot. And I couldn't get VMware to work to be able to determine if I could do it with that instead, because you're technically supposed to be able to. This is the other downside of doing it with a 100 megabit connection, because the thing takes forever. Yeah, right now it seems to either be stuck or confused. Although, because... So, here's the other frustrating thing. Because of the way Secure Boot works, it requires everything to be signed. Including, say, Grub wants to load something. Whatever Grub is loading also has to be signed. In this case, we're using a shim that then loads Grub. And because the shim is signed, it's happy. If Grub tries to load something, say a module that shows a progress bar, that has to be signed too. Otherwise it doesn't work. And in this case... Yeah, I had it do this on my machine as well occasionally. And there's no way to verify if anything's doing anything. I guess I could try connecting to the PXE client to see if it's booted. But I don't think it has. So we're currently sitting with nothing, right? And the only thing I can really do is just kill the machine. Because this keyboard is directly connected to the actual NUC. That sounds about right, Root, though. I've had packages just be AWOL until they reach the destination. Oh well. Was worth a shot, my friends. I hope this doesn't boot into the network boot by default now. That would be annoying. Straight into Ubuntu. I also don't know how to disable keyring unlock dialog, but that's fine. Don't mind me just connecting to TeamViewer without showing you guys the credentials. Okay. Let's give ourselves a little more to work with here. Just a bit. Yeah, so this is the host. New Nook. I don't know where to go from here. Which is great. A little frustrating. Wouldn't that be nice? Oh. Why does Control-Alt-T open the ASUS GPU tweak UI? Why is that the shortcut? Someone agreed to that. Somewhere. Some executive somewhere was like, yes, that's what we want. Yeah, there was some command that would literally... Is it to bootstrap? Might be. Which will install a WS-based system into a subdirectory. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. Like, it doesn't do everything, but it's a start. I recognize none of these commands. Oh. Alright, no worries. Thanks for stopping by, Root. Good night. I'll be doing another stream for midnight. US time, so... Where there's a 1 in the title for this one. Okay, that's the command I was looking for. Now I think focal is 2004, right? No, actually, we can check here. Yes, focal. My cat is walking around because she can't be outside because fireworks. So she just ate a snack and now she's just walking around. Okay, so that's not what I was looking for. So this is actually what we want. Actually, let's verify. Is to bootstrap in here. Oh, you know, people set them off every year. Not often, and not a lot, but it happens. Okay, I didn't have it installed. That's fine. Okay. Cool. So we're gonna do... do I have permission in here? Read. Don't have right. Okay. For the moment. bootstrap, arch, MD64, focal, and then we're going to do FS root. Let's call it primary, I guess. Do I have to make the directory in advance? So it says here, you can substitute any archive mirror, sure, but where? When and how? Do I need to man page this? Is the documentation for setting this up so bad? Bootstrap's a basic Debian system in Sweden to target from Mirror by running script. Mirror can be URL, file, or SSH. What's the point of documentation if it doesn't document, you know? Story of my life. Okay. So if I set mirror, mirror spread. My cat's walking around. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Perfect timing. In this case, we're going to do file. Oh, but I unmounted it. Hold on. I rebooted and unmounted. My cat is requesting assistance. I'll be right back. In the meantime, let's mount this. This is the moment where the cat asks to go outside. When I'm not going to let her, so... Oh, no. Okay, hang on. Not Mount L502. Media. So the fly that was in the kitchen is now in here. So, what does it say? File... Slash CD-ROM, okay. In this case... Okay, 1/. File slash media... That should do the trick. I assume it'll yell at me if I did it wrong. Failed getting release. That's what I thought. Okay. I'm not actually sure this will work. File media, wizard CM. It doesn't like the space, and I'm not sure what the best way to work around the space is. No. Which is why I'm confused. The backslash doesn't work. My cat just slammed the door, which is already open, because she wants to go. Okay, fine. I'll let her out. But that's not a good idea. For reference, I'm just going to resize this to make it clearer. Here's how I did it in the first run. When I do that, he yells at me that this doesn't exist, which is correct. It doesn't exist.
I just need a little bit more of your love. I just need a little bit.
What if I just rename the partition? Is that an okay workaround?
I just need a little bit more of your love. I just need a little bit more of your love.
I don't like this one. Probably best if I'm not in that directory when I rename it. Solved it! It's a solution, okay? As long as it works. Retrieving valid release signature, resolving dependencies, chosen extractor. Okay. That did the basics. That's a workaround and it worked. So that did the initial bit, which is gave us the core stuff for the file system. So I googled the thing with the word to bootstrap. Why do you not? Why is Google search so? howtoforge.com. So thank you whoever suggested that. Z3N Garden? Very helpful. The last command may take a long time depending on your internet connection. Well, the benefit of doing it over USB is that it took seconds. Because I assume that just with those files alone I can't do it, right? That would be silly. Oh, right. There's no... Oh, there is. Neat. We're gonna need the FS tab of this guy. Oh, that's right. It had... I don't actually remember how we set up the home directory. Because you'll notice there is a home here that is the same as this guy. Not Anchor, that's the Windows name for it. No, it's not the word for it. Where you have basically a shortcut to another folder, but it's treated as a real folder rather than a shortcut. I am blanking on the word I'm looking for. Symlink, that's the one. Thank you. You can use grep with the ls command. But this doesn't say that one of them is a symlink. I feel lied to. One of these somewhere has to be a symlink. There is no way I have the same files in two locations. Oh, actually, it's a mount point, isn't it? Oh, we were clever and dumb at the same time. Yep, that's the one. Forget symlinks when you've got mount points. Let's go back into... Apparently I don't have... Bash yet? No, what is it? That's... I do have it set up, it just doesn't know yet. Okay. Split... What is it? Horizontal. Not what I'm after. Close enough. I don't care enough. Okay. So what we're gonna do is... The bottom one is the new one. There we go. That's closer to what we want. Okay, so if we sudo nano fs etc fs Windows Terminal has the weirdest... Like, when it freaks out, it freaks out. In this case, I had added a bash alias and forgotten to restart that particular terminal. As we know, the environment, what's the word? Stuff like aliases are only loaded when you log in. Really? Mine occasionally yells at me in my about my config file, and then it behaves fine for that. Oh, that's frustrating. I had that issue on my laptop. If you load the terminal preview, which is a separate entry in the Microsoft Store, that solved my issue. I can't run the basic one, but... So... Okay. What permissions do I have set on... Oh, it's all root with everyone else can read, okay. Fine. There we go. Happy New Year, Jess. I don't know why. The previous entry I had on my overlay, and I've lost the tab now. I had Christmas Island, and then the next one is much of Australia. So I don't know how that worked out. No, actually, hold on. What if I... not that one. The other way. Yeah. And that one was an hour off. So... it's all weird. Either way, the next one I've got is... time zones, daylight savings, none of it works. I'm essentially using... let me turn off this custom CSS that I was using to test with. It's literally just this page with some styling on it. Okay, New Zealand with exceptions is in that list. Give me a second. New countdown, interact. See, this is the downside of cropping. Oh no. Oh no. They've replaced the page. Or did it delete my CSS? Might have just deleted my... Or, you know what? I need to see what I'm looking at here. Once I resize it, it's fine. That's alright. I'm better off cropping it anyway. Size... crop... bottom... 10, 20. Okay. Now... the fatal flaw has been fixed. So let's see what I was doing wrong here. Oh, I see what I was doing wrong here. What do you notice about these two rows? Because I see a fatal flaw in my design. essentially, I had done this, right? Where I went... Which turns out hides more than just the first row. Because what I wanted to do, and I have this in the first line of my style sheet, but I needed an easy way to adjust it. Oh, okay. Well, basically every second, so it goes class C0, C1, C0, C1, row act, C1, C0, C1, C0. So me filtering out C1 is a bad idea. Okay. Now I can just update this number here. And that way I can just remove them one by one. So the next time zone is small region of Russia and 7 more. It includes... Yeah. I mean, it's an auto-generated table. So I guess blame timeanddate.com. I'm just loading their website. Does the same thing show up here? Yeah. So really, I should have noticed it when I was originally testing my code. But I do have some lights and some fireworks I can put on for a minute while we celebrate New Year's in. I didn't end up using any JS. I ended up just using some CSS. I put together like a whole style sheet of crap, like an hour before stream. Looks like this. Bunch of random modifications. Setting the font for the... What is this? Why is it doing this to me? Edit transform 10, 20. Okay. I wanted this not to jump around, so I ended up setting this to the Consolis font, and this one's the Go UI. I'm pretty happy with it. For some reason, my transitions just don't work, and they cause my FPS to drop. But yes, I now have lights all around my room, and this remote controls both the lights under my desk and the ones on the ceiling. The problem I've run into is that the sticky bit on the back of the actual... Hang on. So these are the lights, right? It's just it's flat on the back. And then it's basically slightly raised along the middle on the front. And it has blue tape on the back. And if you peel away the blue tape, I can figure out where the blue tape begins. Essentially, I didn't want to tape it all to my wall because I didn't want... Oh, actually, yeah. I didn't want the next time I tried to peel them off to rip off the paint. So I only did it in 2 spots, and then the rest of it I used blue tack. Okay, this tape just does not want to come off. So this is the tape. It doesn't want me to peel. This is exactly why I didn't want to... Yeah. I've got 2. I've got this one that has basically a protective rubbering on top of the lights, and then the one under my desk doesn't have any protective anything on it. But essentially... I didn't want to tape this directly to the paint, so I ended up using... It came with little, like, bits you could attach, and then you'd slot this in. And I did that in the corners and above my air conditioning. And for the rest of it, blue tack. I used up almost 2 sticks of blue tack. And the blue tack is mostly holding up okay, whereas the, like, in the center behind me, let's see if I can show this. In the center here, where the two ones, basically the cable runs up my wall here, and then to the center, and then from there, there are two separate wires that go up. I only removed the blue sticky tape right here and right here. The rest of it is blue tack, and you can see the darker points here and here where there's blue tack. The blue tack is holding up okay, but the actual little clips and the little bit of blue tape that I removed in the center have not been holding up. You can see this corner started to peel, and like there were literally two clips holding it to the corner, whereas the blue tack is holding up okay. And then you can see I don't have any blue tack along here, but I did have a little bit of blue tape here and here on the back that I removed. And that does not seem to hold up well. So I'm not sure if I should just add blue tack here and here, whether it would solve my problem where this center just keeps falling off, or if I'm going to have to do something different, like remove more of the blue tape that has a bigger surface to grip onto. But I think it's mostly the heat that's causing issue, because my room gets very hot. Yeah, Nano Leaf is really cool. I just don't have anywhere to put it. I guess technically I could do it on this wall right here, but then it's like half behind me and I don't really... Not great, you know? Yeah. Well, I bought a whole thing of blue tack on Amazon, and it arrived next day, which was nice, and I used up almost 2 sticks. I've still got 2 more sticks in the box. But I was just a bit bummed that... I don't know if it's just the amount of blue tape, you know, that I removed that it's okay with, or whether the actual glue that they used is crap. Yeah, I was worried about that. Not again. There we go. Basically, I need to avoid transitioning. I don't know why it does that. Yeah. I'm going to remove the fireworks. I'm going to tilt the camera back down. That was my adventure a couple weeks ago where I was like, this sounds fun. My biggest issue with all the variants of this particular light strip, and that's both the cheaper one that I bought under my desk and the one at the top, both have the same issue where they don't have a solid white. These top ones get closer to a white, but they're too RGB to actually generate real white light. Which wasn't going to be my primary use case anyway, it's just a bit of a bummer. But that's okay. Alright, so now we've set up that mount point, which is good. Which is interesting that mount points don't show up here if they're local. No worries, Tim. See you in half an hour. So I've got the mount point. Let's check my little checklist here. We had a PXE Linux config, but we ended up moving to Grub properly after that. I've copied over the DHCP config. What have we got in export? Ah, this is for the NFS server, and I think I set that up. Cool. And then rootnet config is fine, and then we have a separate FS tab for the actual VM client. So let's verify that I've done that okay. Yes. And then once I'm done, my plan is to swap the IP address so that the new host uses the same IP address as the old host. That will solve a lot of potential annoyances that could come up later in life. Nope, need to be down here. Primary. No, FS tab. Unconfigured FS tab. Yeah, so I'm just going to grab all of this because I'm quite sure all of this was handwritten. I do appreciate that warning. The multi-line. Oh, come on. Every time. Oh, am I editing it somewhere? It's probably here. Yes it is. Okay. Because when you're actually pasting in a command, being able to say, no, that's wrong. Good. So, apparently I installed an NFS client on the VM originally, but I don't need that. So the rest is, I don't know how to actually install the rest of the bits. I don't even know if there are more bits to install, really. Let's see what the internet tells me. Oh right, I will need a kernel. And I need to set up Nginx. Okay, let's do that then. Pretty straightforward, my config there. I need to just connect this guy to the NUC. It'll save me a whole lot of trouble. If I'm right... Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We're gonna go super simple. Allow override all, order allow deny, allow from all, require all friend. That should work just fine. I don't need anything extra. As far as I know. Ah, but The idea was we didn't want people to be able to browse the files. And name not resolved. Okay. If I could get my IP address correct, that would be helpful, wouldn't it? Ah, I didn't sudo. Every time. The very basic symlink. Does that do... Relative paths work. Will it yell at me in the... Does Nginx care if it's a relative path? Oh, we got through the whole album. Fine, we can... System CTL reload Nginx. It yelled at me. I guess it didn't like my config, or didn't like the symlink. Valid parameter PXE. Line 2. So it did read the config file. That's nice. We're not going to use it for anything else, so... Didn't yell at me that time. Okay, that's successfully reloaded. Excellent. Now... Okay, that's fine. Because the web server doesn't have permission to that folder, which is okay. Because we don't need it. When it gets this late, my brain's a bit foggy. Which is fine. So what we're going to need is you know what? Let's go one better. Rather than doing that, let's just do it right in. guess as long as it can load the files. So we're just going to copy over the existing kernel and... the existing kernel and RAM disk, because those are fine. Keep doing that.
Same people, same
I love
places,
this song.
same parties. Am I just a ghost at night?
And then that just has
Lights in this city, I'm missing all
753. So sorry, 733. It's an interesting choice.
but I can't escape the feeling that I've been away for far too long.
No, 7. Always.
'Cause there's something about our love that brings me peace of mind. Something special about the way
You would think this would be in my
are intertwined. There's something about you that just leaves me
744.
mystified.
That was gonna be my next guess.
Something pulling me to your heart, and
Yeah.
I always
So now, if we try downloading one of these guys.
next to mine.
Perfect. The reason I do this is because NFS is notoriously slow. And seeing as... this RAM disk is 48 megabytes, downloading that at NFS speeds is no good. Instead, we're going to do it over HTTP, which is a bit quicker. And because we can't show a progress bar because of secure boot, it helps to be a little bit quicker. That does that. Sweet.
Relive the day I met you and fall in love a second time.
Let's see if there's anything I've missed.
I could run, but I know I can't escape the
Yeah, we've done that.
feeling far away
Create a root
from you for
in and mount proc. Put the root password. Compile. New kernel. Stock Ubuntu kernel is missing a few things, including support for PXE booting and NFS as a root file system. Ah, that's why. Okay. Starting from the generic kernel, you'll need to enable the following additional options. Okay, that's why we need to... Yes. I love this. When your tutorial has a to-do in it, you've done something wrong. Oh, man. I'd forgotten that the default one doesn't have those. We kind of need those components for a PXE boot, don't we? Okay. Well, Theatrude is pretty cool. So let's do that, because we do need to do that at some stage. How does it want us? Sudo ch. I thought so. Because there's no... There is a bin. Oh, because I added a slash on the end? No? What even happened? Let's just grab all of these, because clearly we're missing some. I forget what the key combination is to delete a line, so I'm just gonna hold the button down. What have I done wrong? Tell me, internet. Inside CH root, make sure you point it to where bash is in the CH root. If you have an execute CH root, user bin bash. Does this not defeat the purpose of... Fine. If it'll fix it. No, it won't. Of course it won't. Okay, internet, tell me. You can mount or bind these directories under chroot, or you can copy these libraries to chroot if you don't trust the chroot at end to not corrupt them, like so. Okay. Which ones didn't it copy over? Those are empty. This explains things. Okay. Well, so bin is in there. So check bin. Yeah. So if I go into the bin. Oh, it's completely empty. Well, that kind of defeats purpose, doesn't it? There's nothing in there. Does that mean it didn't copy it correctly off the USB? No wonder it was instant. Might as well just tell it to re-download everything. I wonder. Yeah, it definitely explains the error. I just don't get why it didn't do anything. Oh, you... No? Well then what was the point of the bootstrap? If it just created a bunch of empty directories, I'm a little annoyed. It created a few files, but nowhere near enough to actually give me anything runnable. So I have a couple options here. Either I scrap everything and run to bootstrap again from a online mirror. Yeah. But you'd think a minimal base install would contain something. I also don't know why NCDU is yelling at me. You know what? I bet it's the stupid snap, what's the word? Sandbox. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that doesn't seem even minimal. That does not seem right. It's just a bunch of empty directories. Alright. Scrap that. Ah. Is it this one? Yeah. That's the thing that bugs me about the history command. Alright. If it's gonna be weird like that... It's all a guessing game, really. What am I trying to do here? There we go. That's what I was looking for. AMD 64 NFS root primary. This will take longer, but it'll actually do the thing. At least it should. Because now it's actually validating each of the bits and pieces, you know? But I thought, when when it said minimal install, I didn't mean just empty folders. Alright, I guess it's a waiting game now. This may take a while. At least it'll be a Sydney mirror, so it won't be terribly slow. And while it does that, I can look into... No one else ran into this issue. Because technically it's supposed to be an empty file system, just not that empty. Oy. That's fine. At least we're making some progress. I still have no idea how to get this to turn this into a working Ubuntu installation, but we'll figure that out later. No, that's not even the right server. It's all turning into the same. Yeah, that's fair enough. I have a friend who's done it before a number of occasions. And it essentially, the first time we did this was in the office during downtime. And I didn't memorize stuff like the bootstrap. Because there was a lot. It required a fair bit of messing around because he hadn't done it in a while. I think the last time he'd done it was like Ubuntu 16. 14. So his knowledge was... Be right back. It sounded like my cat had slammed her head into the cat door because I locked it. Yes, so he had only done it a few years prior, and so we had to essentially start from scratch with him knowing aspects of it. And then once we got it working, eventually I realized that to get it working at home required secure boot. And then that was a whole ordeal, because it had been... because he hadn't had secure boot as a thing that he had to worry about. Yes, I am, Lord Alpaca. Welcome. We're going alphabetically. This is making good progress. But essentially, the system did work for a while, and now it's less less functional on my real hardware. I'm not sure why. So I got myself a NUC to give me gigabit instead of 100 megabit. For this stuff, and I'm basically going through this process again. And the main reason I set this up in the first place is testing OBS on Ubuntu, and because macOS VMs can't run on Hyper-V, running it there in the Ubuntu VM does work. I can at least do that. I do have this old AMD R7 260X that I was thinking of putting in as my macOS CPU. Apparently it does work-ish. And that way I could test hardware-accelerated macOS in a VM on Ubuntu. But I haven't had a chance to actually boot into Ubuntu lately. I haven't popped this in yet. Well, thanks, Lord Alpaca. Yeah, Jim's been working on it for a few years, and then the rest of us kind of contribute code where we can. Okay. Now... that has a little more than before. That actually didn't take as long as I thought it would. So I guess I have to modify FS-Tab again. Yeah. I mean, the reason why I didn't like the way the way the Bootstrap did it the first time when I was watching is because it only copies such a minimal install. Like, if you're grabbing, in this case, from the Ubuntu Focal mirror, you would think it would grab everything that is required for a working Focal Ubuntu install, right? At least that's the way I thought it should work. I think that's what that file should be. I'm gonna have to load it up here. And so I remember him running this function of this command and then manually copying a bunch of stuff over to get it to actually boot. which felt unnecessary. But I guess if the RAM disk doesn't contain all the bits needed for an NFS boot, I guess that makes sense. There'd have to be bits that it needs to do separately. NFS root, CD, diskless, FS tab. Just verifying, nope, that's not the right one. Had to be sure. Yeah, that's the bit I care about. Not this. Okay. Let's try this again. None of these are commands I tried to run recently. Nope. Like, I've already lost track of what command I needed to run, because this stuff is so all over the place. Root, wasn't it? I also hate what Microsoft Edge has done to the history keyboard shortcut. This doesn't help me either. This doesn't... This is gonna drive me nuts. Okay. So there was a thing it needed me to do after CH rooting. Ah, that's right. It wanted me to copy something over, I think. Well, I guess I have to go line by line until I find the particular thing I was doing. Because I need to compile the kernel. None of these are the right one. Oh, that's right, I had to find proc. That's still not the page I'm looking for, though. This is why you don't do this when you're trying to go to... when it's late at night.
There's a place I can trace every line of me. I can taste every inch of the space I step
History.
into. Am I free?
Nope. Recently closed.
Sometimes I feel something deep down. I don't know if the night's gonna give up or
Might have Then D4. Yeah, this page doesn't look interesting.
Silence, please. I'm feeling happy. Silence, please. It's time to unwrap me.
I need to just remove this site from my history because it's useless. D4. Yes, this was the one. I think. Yeah, and it wanted me to launch it with thin back. Okay. Fine. Don't attach to the side of my screen. Now you've got a real system rather than lean on disk. CH root into it. You may need to set the terminal definition to be compatible. Oh, that's right. Wanted me to set a password too. Getting there. Oh, can I exit this? Neat! Don't wanted. Aha. Yeah, it's little details like this where it's like, okay, why does it only have the archive and not security, you know? Source packages and security update. Like, why isn't that there by default? Make dev? Make dev. Usually apt update helps. Oh, so your options are static device files after CH rooting, manually create only specific, find mount dev from your host on top of dev. Wouldn't that last one be a bad idea if I want to use the devices that are... Oh, I missed this. Alright, let's turn on the fireworks for a bit. For a small region of Russia and more. Yeah, I don't like how that's not documented well. Alright, next is most of Australia, including Melbourne. So hopefully I keep an eye on the clock for this one. So yeah, the third option is bind mount dev from your host system. Would that mean when I PXE boot, it gives me access to the devices on the server rather than the client? Is that against the idea of what I'm trying to do here? Or is there a benefit that I'm not thinking of there? I just have to make sure I don't miss the big one. That is not the page I meant to hide. I meant to hide fireworks. I think I had a hotkey for it last. Thing is, I'm learning things here, which is useful. I may as well set up some of this environment without actually booting into it, huh? I just don't know about the static devices. Did I just make the static ones? This is also not very helpful, or depending on your specific architecture, make dev std. Alright. Alright, I didn't want to... What do I have in here? Console, FD, full null, PS random, standard error. I guess I can just leave it as is. Command program sys file systems multiple times. Okay, but why? Proc already mounted or busy, but I unmounted it, didn't I? Wasn't that the purpose of this guy? I don't even know if I need to configure networking. Because I think this is the outdated networking, right? That's fine. Yeah, that's empty. Okay, cool. Ah, resolve. No, wait, I'm looking in the... Yeah, it's also empty. Okay. Because I'm quite sure resolve.conf is the updated way of doing things, right? Oh, that's not even my home network. I'm surprised that works. That's not supposed to work. Internal DNS stub resolver pointing to the work network. Oops. Which kernel did I end up pulling? For the 54058. 54058. Oh, neat, it has Azure kernels too. Welcome back, Elf. You've missed me completely screwing everything up more than once. What's the difference between generic and low latency? The only one I care about is signed and generic. So let's install those in the meantime. Yes, it was. Correct, Sonic. I'm glad you two understand. Oh, that's right. I'm still connected to the screen, aren't I? So it's going to crop out that way. Okay. I should probably leave that screen then. Then the CH root is running within the screen, which is why I didn't have history. This explains so much. Note to self, don't do this stuff at 11 PM. I was pretty much expecting that though. Continue without installing grub, yes, because I don't need to install it, I just... okay, that's something that needed to be done. Chroot, NFS. That's what it needed me to do. Page it was. Yeah, because I needed to generate a... I don't want to rewatch my stream to find the thing I'm looking for. The specific page I was looking at. But I'm gonna have to... When was this? Like an hour ago, half an hour ago. Is that the right one? Yeah. Okay, so this one was mock documents. This one. Yes. I found it. I'd only been messing around for 35 minutes. We're fine. Okay. It looks something like this. Now we need to do a few things within chroot and mount proc. Cool. Yeah, I've mounted it. Cool. Set the root password. Cool. We also need to compile a new kernel. Stock Ubuntu is missing a few things, including support for PXE booting and an NFS as a root file system. These are the two important things that none of the other guides mention. Which could be because this guide's outdated, but that's fine. You'll need to enable the following options, each of which should be built into the kernel. Networking options. How? Yeah. Oh, we can install Nano. This'll save my life. Multiple times. Okay. Modules. Most depth netboot. Yes, I remember doing this. Okay. You know what we're going to do, actually? This one was... Knit RamFS tools, Nano, and Knit RamFS. Oh. Really? Really? So looking at my existing init ramfs config, it's the default. I have to admit, I'm confused why. Is it no longer necessary? Add most file system and all hard drive drive. Does most include netboot? Base modules, network modules. Try and guess. Well, I guess as long as they match what I've already used in the past, I don't think I need to do much more. In that case, it already generated a kernel I can use. Unmount proc, tower up the root, and copy it to the NFS server. Already done that part. Make sure the servers, etc. exports has a thing that says this, then edit tftp directory PXE Linux. Ah, the outdated. This guy. I recognize it. Don't need that be saved. We're living in the future, my friends. So in that case, I just need... What do I need? What do I need? 32. That's what I need. Okay, now we go to TF boot. Cool. I like how replacing the file does not replace its permission. That is a little detail I didn't notice before. So these are the new files that we're using. 1.3 and... which are 48 meg and 12 meg, so probably the exact same as before. Fine by me. Okay, so now we... sudo nano... exports. We export NFS root. Interesting. But I guess that's fine. Read write. FSID 0. No subtree check. No root squash. Async. Slightly different to what I've got. But I know mine works, so that's fine. Then we need... So we're changing things up here. Oh, that's right. Cool. So what we're going to change here is 2004, right? Cool. And instead of going 53026, we're actually doing 54058. 54058, cool. And instead of here for the HTTP server, we're just going straight in. Cool. And it's no longer diskless, it is primary. And then the DHCP config points to /boot/grub. Fine. I just need to verify the IP that it will pull. 11230. Cool. And the next server is 182, which is going to be itself. I want to say we're ready. I guess only one way to find out. You should be able to power on an appropriately networked machine and have it boot Ubuntu. So, only one thing to do now. Panic. Because we don't know if this will work. And the... This is going to be really interesting because I'm just swapping the static. 182 is here. This is the old one. The thing is, if I do this wrong, then not only will I have two non-functioning... I need two non-functioning servers. One of them I won't be able to access at all because the UI for it, or like the desktop environment, is completely broken. So this is going to be exciting. We know this is the new one. What? Oh, do you do this? Don't scare me like that. Hey, Autofights! How's it going? Are you working this week? You seem to be up a little early for a week where you shouldn't be working. Or Or are you just used to waking up in time for stream? Alright, we're gonna shut down the old PXE host. And then we're going to... I'm gonna have to kill the lease for the new... No. This is my favorite device on the network. Kitchen fridge. Okay. Ah, that's good. Okay, so... This still has a lease of 22... No. This is when it was leased. No idea. I need to just dislike it and remove it from my library. I guess we could sudo reboot and see what happens? That's SSH into the num. Sorry, not SSH. Do it. Let's TeamViewer into... None of this is what I'm looking for. Okay. I guess this is going to be the moment of truth of whether it gives me the right IP. Because either it'll use the old IP, because I don't know if I can... no, I need system log. We're going to... reboot, I think. Fingers crossed. Theoretically, it should be able to boot normally. If it doesn't end up having a network connection, that is fine by me. Actually, would a sudo reboot... Oh, yeah, would a sudo reboot be enough for it to get a new lead? Still has 192 assigned. That was down. And I've got it set to... Might have to find a way to clear the lease. I guess I could restart the router. That could work. Oh. That's wrong. Well, that would do it. Because that's still got the lease to 182. I hope I didn't kill my Ubuntu install. I don't see how I could have, unless I modified a config file somewhere incorrectly. Or I modified it on the host rather than the... I think it's stuck in a boot loop. Let's restart this. Alright, it's off. I am going to quickly check. Ah, I see what I did. Alright. Can I set this to 60 actually? It's still 30. Oh damn. And technically the device only supports 30 internally, but that's rude. Well, at least the resolution will be the correct one, and maybe that'll stop it from freaking out. Oh, you know what it could be doing? It could be trying to boot from the Ubuntu USB that's inside. Yeah, that's not good. Okay, it booted this time. I don't know what happened last time. I don't like how this speed. I'm on the same network, silly. Apparently clicking anywhere makes it click. Okay. What IP address do you have? So technically I'm using 3 computers at once. It's actually how I do work stuff at the moment too, when working from home. Because I don't want my work stuff on my main gaming machine. The good news is that's connected by gigabit, which is what I need. Okay, it's got the 182 address. Alright. I don't think I've set up the NFS server. Have I set up the NFS server but not the TFTP server? I don't think I set up the TFTP server. I don't remember setting a TFTP config. Yes. So the computer I'm streaming on is 1. This is my laptop. And then this is the Nook that I'm configuring stuff on. For work stuff, I use Jump Desktop to access my work machine at work. And then on my laptop, I have this set up as a separate user. Oh, did I get the wrong one? I just decided to get the wrong one. I use Jump Desktop to access the work machine, and then I remote desktop into the laptop so that I have a separate user on this laptop that is just my work stuff. And that way I have a good separation, so that if, for example, I need to reboot this machine, I don't lose all my work, so I can just be back up and running straight away. Or if, vice versa, if I'm having issues. Yeah. It's why I have... Oh, you probably can't see it. Hold on. I have task view set up. The first tab is my stuff. The second desktop is... yeah. Let me restart Explorer to stop freaking out. The second one is remote desktop, and the third one is Jump Desktop, but I've got access to all 3. It actually means if one computer's lagging, I've got 2 backups, which is nice. My cat is trying to figure out why there's a laptop on the bed. I mean, it's entirely unnecessary. Oh, I've got 3 monitors. As a side note. Okay, well... shut down the other server. What are you doing, little one? You jumped on the bed, then on my desk, then got confused and tried to get off the desk. Alright, well, let's see what happens. Let's see how much of this is actually functional at the moment. I should probably turn on Secure Boot. Okay, it didn't find anything. That's interesting. I can only guess the... SSH being overprotective. So... okay, that's a good sign. Because that means it's reaching the NOC. The NOC is saying, here, 10.1.225 is your new IP address, and then it's not loading grub. So we need to configure NFS share. So the cool thing is Windows does come with an NFS client, which we can use to verify that stuff is working. I just don't remember what it's under. Was it an NFS client or a TFTP client? Well... my cat is unsure of what to do. Hello? What's up? I've got 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. If I remember correctly... essentially what this is told to do go to NFS. Right? Option TFTP, okay. Yeah, so it does go to the TFTP server. If you have a file list in, say, files.txt. So, get... Because the issue is it's not finding... Connect request failed. Specifies binary image transfer mode. Bye. My only guess is sudo apt install tftp server. No, I do have TFTP server. These are really outdated instructions. 2014. I need something more recent. 2020. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Oh. No? Let's try it from a Linux client. I don't have a TFTP client. Usually helps to have one of those. Okay, my cat is now looking out the window. Oh, there's have to be cat. File not found. Okay. Well, my cat normally likes to go outside, and she spends a lot of time outside. Problem is, it's New Year's and fireworks, so I'd rather she didn't. Like, I can hear a couple fireworks going off literally right now. And so I don't want her freaking out, and so I've locked the doors. How do you set up a TFTP directory? Step 1. Install this. Installed. Yeah. Step 2. Add files. Files accessed using need to be stored in the varlib tftp boot. years ago. Install status. That's what I'm looking for. Yes. All I needed was the config file. This means port 69. I think I had to have it set to insecure, but we'll check later. Without create, you won't be able to create or upload new files. Yeah, we don't need to. Now make the directory. Now change the owner. Now restart. Cool. Now we should be able to... That's not the right thing in my clipboard. We need... Okay. Let's try again. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on secure boot. Well, let's try it without secure boot first. Okay, we've made progress. It actually reached Grub, but Grub didn't send the right config file because Grub is dumb and reads config files from the wrong spot. But we can confirm we successfully connected. So that means we've got the TFTP server correctly configured. We have Grub correctly detected by the DHCP server. Well, the shim, really. And the shim is then correctly sending the person to Grub. The problem is... it didn't request... the Grub file. It didn't request the Grub config. Why didn't it request the Grub config? Yeah, boot/grub/grub.config. Boot/grub/grub.config. Oh, that's right. We had to disable TFTP timeout. That was the issue. Haha. Why would I want Windows Server settings? Increase server process priority. Timeout second. Session timeout. I tell you to reset. You're still running the same issue. I know what I'm looking for, but I don't know where to look. TFTP HPA. PXE, HPA. Timeout. To wait for a second connection before terminating the server. The default is 15 minutes. The default for retransmitting is 1 second. We did end up making it verbose to give us more info. This is progress. I'm really happy with how much progress we've made today. Even if it's not loading the grub file. Here we go! So here it goes. It tries to load boot grub Jim. I'll be right back. Yeah, my cat is trying to break through the cat door. Okay, so it loaded boot grub shim, then grub, then it tried to load grub config from /grub. Now this is the really dumb thing I don't get. Because these files exist. These don't. So why is it trying to load this if it doesn't exist? Because what I could do, right, is create a link. Hey, it's Virtue. 6 minutes until New Year's in Melbourne. How you doing? Path to be linked. Path of the link. Yeah. Like, I could technically do this, right? Send anything trying to go to boot grub to I got it backwards. But I shouldn't have to do this. To be fair, it's Virtue. I haven't streamed much this year, so that is perfectly understandable. I feel like I shouldn't have to do this, but it's being rude. No worries, Autofights. Thanks for stopping by. Happy New Year to you too. I'll be doing another stream for US New Year's tomorrow, so just so you know, really. Okay, it didn't load the config. Oh, that's right. I know. Was it TFTP doesn't support symlinks? So my idea doesn't work. Yeah. I always do 2 streams for New Year's. I didn't even create the link properly. Uh-oh. Oh yeah, I didn't create the... Yeah, that's not right. That's not right. I did it backwards. I thought I had it right the first time. I do still play Overwatch occasionally, but not really for streams anymore. LN for removal, not S. I? Remove assembling L. Grub. Oh. L, S? What? Oh, that's just to list it. I can just use unlink. Okay, so let's do this correctly. Boot / grub just goes to grub. No worries, thanks for stopping by anyway, even if it's just for a moment. I appreciate it. Now, if I'm correct, this symlink won't work because TFTP doesn't support symlinks, which is why I had to have 2 separate grub folders. Yeah, that didn't work. Okay. Which is why I had to have 2 separate grub folders, one for BIOS and one for UEFI, which is dumb. So if I unlink this and I sudo cp boot grub to grub recursively, and we have a new grub directory, right? So it reads it from the base one, then it reads it from this one, then it reads it to this one. And at one stage I was like, well, maybe I can just modify the thing here so that it's not pulling from boot / grub shim, but then it didn't work. Okay, no theme, but this is a start. Let's boot native and see what happens. Booting by NFS. Okay, so this is the BIOS one, not the UEFI one. Oh, I have to fix the host. Otherwise I have two clients with the same host name, which is not good. Oh. That's right. I'll have to fix that. What? I did set the password. Username root. Oh yeah, 1.5 minutes. There we go! It works! We just need to apt install a bunch. Yeah, I can hear the fireworks going off behind me. Outdoors. That'll take a bit. I'm glad I used native instead of the Hyper-V bits, which I will have to build a kernel that contains the Hyper-V bits, because that includes a bunch of stuff that it needs. But we did it! Guys, it works! But yeah, essentially I tried to scrap this, but then it got even more confused, and so I have to dig further into why it does that. Yeah, fireworks going off outside. Quit. 10. Three, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Yes! I got everything working right on time. That's exciting. This bit here will take a bit. But I've shut down the old server for now. I think it's still hard-coded. Yeah. Pretty much. That is exactly it. Yeah, I can hear one of the dogs of the neighbor unhappy about the fireworks. I actually like how subtle this is. Well, yeah, you're still 2 hours away, right? Let's bump this to 5. So, Adelaide in half an hour. Hey Tim, Happy New Year. Oh, 3 hours, that's right. So if I do 6, so that's Brisbane in an hour, Darwin in an hour and a half, Tokyo in 2 hours, and then Western Australia in 2 hours and 13 minutes. Specifically, Eucla. And if we can, Beijing, Jakarta, 4 hours. That's pretty far. 3 hours is CST. China, Philippines, and 10 more. I need to... What are we working with here? Brisbane. Singapore. 3 hours. 3 hours. China, Philippines. Regions of Indonesia. Western Australia. Okay, so it's all just under China, Philippines, and 10 more. Yeah. Okay. 3 hours. Alright, well, I'll turn off these lights. Or should I just make them red? So you can't really see the red. The color correction on the camera is fixing itself. It's the automatic white balance that's fixing it. Can I disable the automatic white balance? Is that a thing that's on here? Aha! Okay, so if I turn off these guys, that's a little more obvious now. Blue, red, yeah, there you go. Now you can see the lights. Now if I do jump, that's a little better. Because essentially the trick to white balance is... That's definitely not white, right? That's off-white. So what we do is we go configure video and we change the white balance until it looks white. We're moving to red. So there we go. Now that's white. Now that we know that's white, then we turn on the lights, and now you get a proper... But yeah, the closest to white this does is more of a yellow. It has a white button, but then it's more of a blue. You can see that there, right? That's blue. Red is very, very close to not red. Not looking red. That's fine. We've got 25 minutes for Adelaide. At the very least, we are now installing Ubuntu Desktop into our new PXE boot. I mean, this is what the buttons look like, right? So this one is white. This one down here is yellow. So this white one up here is more of a blue. Yeah. I can turn off the fireworks too. Next year I want to see if I can wire up this guy to my IR toy. I also have to verify secure boot works, because for some reason I don't think it actually used UEFI. I think it ended up using the BIOS stuff. But yeah, my eyes are starting to lose focus, so I'm probably not going to be able to stream until 1 AM like I originally was hoping. Which is fine. Late nights are just not for me anymore, which they used to be. But my eyes get very tired at staring at screens all day, you know? Is it set to zoom 100? Well, we can bump it to 100. No worries, Sonic. Enjoy the outside. Outdoors is very nice this time of night. Just a waiting game now. At least for this step. Because I prefer to make sure that Ubuntu Desktop actually launches before I go too deep into configuring everything. Because if this bit fails, then you can potentially run into very frustrating cases. I haven't even verified if the home directory mounted correctly. Oh, actually it wouldn't have. Well, it didn't. I'm not sure why, actually. But I also have the issue of it didn't create my user. I have to do that. Which is fine. I'll worry about that later though. For now, we want to make sure that this installs correctly. I find it funny that some people I know, for example, my brother and my parents, are celebrating New Year's with friends in various ways. I don't particularly find that entirely, like, parties are just not my thing. Last year was really good. A couple friends came over and we streamed Switch games, mostly Monopoly. That didn't go well. We lost against the AI. And then to end off this year, well, originally it was 30, and now it's down to 15. But like we've never done large gatherings anyway. It used to be that my parents and my brother would, like the four of us would just be home for New Year's. But like, I don't know. I like streaming for New Year's, it's fun. Especially if I manage to get something actually done. I'd actually considered streaming a couple days ago, just a bit of OBS dev. But like, I've reached the point where most of the PRs, they shouldn't have. Let me restart Audition anyway. If anything, I bet If there is still crackling, I bet it's the VM rather than lights, because the lights aren't even hooked up to anything. They're just power to the wall. Cool. I just restarted Audition. That usually fixes crackling. There is one thing, I think it's a time sync issue, where if I have Adobe Audition open all day, by the end of the day, I either have no audio or Audition crashes. And Restart fixes it. And sometimes I also get crackling instead. So I don't know if it's something that I need to tweak in my virtual cable. I don't know if it's something I need to tweak in Audition or what. But there's something causing something to freak out, where if I have my virtual cable running all day, by the end of the day, it is non-functional. It needs a restart. And the moment I restart Audition, everything goes back to normal because all those timestamps get reset. At least that's my running theory. But I don't have a solution. Dylan uses a different virtual cable and he doesn't seem to have any issues. And I can't be bothered redoing all of my virtual cables, so... That's one of the reasons I ended up switching from using preview builds on my main machine to currently I'm running production. 1, because it's a little more stable, and 2, because I've had blue screens before where it was just constant because of a particular update in the insider builds. But the real issue is every time you install a new insider build, audio devices get reset, especially virtual cables, because they don't exist, so they don't have a initialization order. They just initialize when the driver reinstalls the devices. Steam has virtual devices, I have virtual cables, and there's other stuff, and it was just a pain in the butt. So, and like at the time, they were releasing updates every 2 weeks. And so I'd have to set all of my audio devices every 2 weeks. This way, I only have to do it once every 6 months. And this year, 2021, the expectation is there won't be many builds or many major releases. The expectation is we might get a 21H1, but we'll definitely get a 21H2, and it won't be very big. And like, I'm super bummed about that, because they're actually, what I've noticed is more of the things that are actually being done in terms of Windows just aren't user-facing, or they're through secondary programs. For example, PowerToys. A number of the features in PowerToys are really good and should be part of Windows, but they're not. They're part of PowerToys. And like, multiple desktops are basically useless on Windows, because when you open a program, it opens on whatever desktop you're on when it initializes. So it doesn't remember which desktop it was on when you last booted. If you click an app shortcut to launch it and then switch desktops, if the app took too long to launch, it'll launch on the desktop you're on now rather than the one you were on when you clicked launch, which is dumb. And so there's no persistence to desktops. It's just poorly done. And then the most frustrating thing is Windows 8 was fantastic on tablets. Well, it wasn't as good as Windows Phone was on phones, because essentially when they designed Windows 8, they purposefully didn't talk to the Windows Phone guys to get tips on how to do touch well. And then that never improved. And then with Windows 10, they stripped out a bunch of touch-first stuff. And so here we are with a Windows 10 that just does not work well on tablets, because the tablet mode specifically just is not very fleshed out. And here we are, Windows 10 has been out for 5 years. Nothing has changed. So there are so many things that they could be doing better but aren't, because they're focused on other things, or, you know, and then, you know, even having all of the UI consistent, every context menu looking styled similarly. It's not the case, because either they don't have time or they're working on other things. Well, to be fair, most of this stuff is so legacy that it's just not worth touching. I'm going to answer the phone, so I'll be right back. It's just my parents saying Happy New Year, because they're out partying. Oh, Autofights went live, that's why. We'll raid him in 15 minutes after Adelaide's New Year. We'll raid Autofight. He does cool things. So, yes, that is like context menus, right? If I right click here, looks like this. If I right click here, looks like this. Why? Like, I get this code is so legacy no one wants to touch it. But come on! And that's the case in like 8 different locations. If I right click here, that's the same one as... No, it's a different one. See? When you hover over these are blue. These ones are white. Because no one wants to touch that code from 20, 30 years ago. Because obviously, who wants to, right? You want to be working on new stuff. But they're not working on any new stuff. There's no new stuff. Alright, this is set up with GDM3. Let's reboot this and hope for the best. Oh, and I also have to turn off Secure Boot and test that. Turn on Secure Boot and test that. This is the weird thing, UEFI, brain words. Hyper-V does sometimes, where it just doesn't render anything. Even though, if I load it here, sometimes it does. It's like, what are you doing? There we go. See? It's rendering stuff. So yeah, no one wants to work on the old stuff, but no one's working on new stuff, and it's like, what are you guys even doing? Okay, so it did fail to mount home. I'll have to figure out why. But that's a task for tomorrow. It has a desktop! Hello. Yeah, English US is fine. Don't need location services. Melbourne. Yes.
Same people, same places, same parties. Am I just a ghost at night? Too many street lights in this city. I'm missing all
Click next the first time. Cool name.
But I can't escape the feeling that I've been away for far too long. 'Cause there's something about our love that brings me peace.
It's alive!
Something special about the way our lives are intertwined. There's something about you that
And this is stupid GDM3.
something pulling me to your heart, and I always want you by my side. Keep your body next to mine. New people, new places, we're Wish I could relive the day I met you and fall in love a second time.
So there are two possibilities here. One, GDM3 is just unhappy, or without any... Oh, you know what's happening. It can't create my home directory. Oh no. Fail, minus. It can't create my home directory because the mount failed. Wait, what's it doing? What happened? What is... Get pause. What is... Why? Why? Yes, I assume it's confused because it's trying to do something with the home directory, but not working. Wait. Okay, so... I missed that. And then... Oh, keyrings. Let's do it from here. Okay. Let's turn on Secure Boot and see what happens. This is a whole separate thing from the thing I was just trying to get working, but I want to make sure that Secure Boot actually works. Because the difference this time is that my host actually has Secure Boot as well now. To edit. Valid signature. Not signed. That answers that question. We can fix that another time. Because in my experience, A, it's a pain to get working, but once you got it working, it's fine. Or it doesn't work in Secure Boot in Hyper-V, but it works on real hardware. It's weird. That's fine. I have to rebuild the kernel to support I have to rebuild the kernel to support all the Hyper-V features anyway, so that's not a big deal. I have to figure out why it's failing to mount home. Systemctl status home.mount for details. Alright. Yeah, so here it goes. NFS root primary. But that's authenticated, and then there's nothing about the other one. Which is fine. Where are we? 3.5 minutes. System CTL status home.mount. Bad option. Mount home, bad option. For several file systems, NFS, you might need an sbin mount.type. That error is not what I've got. Ah. I need an NFS client. That's why. It can't mount the home directory because it doesn't have NFS. That explains so much. That's an easy fix then. And we'll be able to verify that with this too. I'm purposefully not booting either of the Hyper-V options because they use a Hyper-V video... Hyper-V... render something. Something for the display. But obviously without any of the Hyper-V drivers it's not going to have it, so it doesn't matter anyway. It might yell at me, and I don't need it to yell at me because I know. Okay, that's not quite... We did it! I didn't even have to switch to light DM. What? Now this doesn't have anything installed, which we're going to fix. Open with... We did it. We have a working PXE boot. Potentially without a correct signature. But I'm okay with that. Other packages, subscribe to Canonical Community Maintained Universe. Proprietary. Fourth. Sure. I would rather not have live patch on for this guy. Reload. I think I can close some of these tabs. Oh, and I missed Adelaide. I got distracted. There you go, some fireworks. Happy New Year, Adelaide. I'll leave it on for a bit. Is this still loading? Yeah. Oh no. What happened? Software Properties GTK? What did you do to me? This is never gonna... Not the first time I've seen this thing freak out. What counts is we got the GUI working, and I logged in as myself. Yeah, it's not what I'm looking for. What's the name of the particular package installer that... Yeah. Alright, well, we'll end soon, because this is looking really, really good. I'm really happy with where we are. I just need one last bit. Yeah, there's something funky with the apps packages. I should just... That'll probably solve a bunch of my problems. What's the point of this thing if it takes forever and doesn't even do its job? And crashes, potentially. Alright. And plus... 23 minutes to Brisbane. We'll probably end before Brisbane. Fireworks, dude. Probably a bit much. Okay, 94 meg of additional space. Yeah, I should have just done this from the get-go, huh? And here's the thing, when you create something like this, there are a bunch of little things like the sources list that you might as well copy from your host OS, because in this case, it's going to be a user-facing Wine OS. But there's no idea to know what configs you need to copy over, like the sources list, until you run into the issue where, in this case, I'm trying to install an app and it freaks out and doesn't know what to do. It gives me a very, very generic, boring error. Because, for example, I installed Ubuntu Desktop, but it didn't install Firefox, for example, which now it probably will through the correct sources list. But I'm sure there are a bunch of programs I haven't thought of, or configs I haven't thought of, because I don't know the Linux file system back to front to back. Whereas I do know, for example, the OBS stuff, front to back, and I could tell you if you're getting this error, you're missing this package, whatever. One of those little things, right? Yeah, config files like issue, LSB release, update MOTD. All of that stuff seems to work fine anyway, so I'm not too worried. Alright, I'll do another stream tomorrow for US time zones, and we can explore more of the quirkiness of the new install then. Because that'll be the middle of the day rather than late at night when my brain is not fully there. I just want to make sure all these packages install correctly first. And the worst part of getting everything set up today is I had to use about 8 different tutorials at the same time, because each one included notes that helped, and they were snippets, and certain commands I had to run that would then give me the stuff I needed. And sure, I guess the instructions have changed over time. But even little stuff like the debootstrap one didn't tell me you need to put the disk on the end. Yeah, maybe. Well, that's what this repository is supposed to be, right? This one. Where this tells you exactly how to set up the grub stuff, which is what I did first, before stream. Because I wanted to make sure all of this stuff was working. But this is just the grub stuff. This doesn't include all of the other bits, like setting up your DHCP server and all of that. The DHCP server, I just copied the existing config, right? And there would have to be certain notes mentioned to explain how to do certain things on that front. Because while I have comments in the config to explain how to do things, if you're writing a tutorial, you might as well write out what you mean. But for the most part, there weren't any major headaches. There were some frustrations, some forgotten commands, but once we got there, it was painless. Because yeah, you change root, you install a couple things, you reboot a couple times, you install a bunch of desktop, and voila. As long as you've done the bootstrap, and it's correctly actually populated the folders, rather than just setting up a bunch of empty folders, which I'm gonna have to find out why it did that. It could be because I used the USB instead of an ISO. If I had mounted the ISO directly, which is not even on that machine, then maybe it would have correctly copied over everything. But doing it from the network only took like 5 minutes, so even then that's not too big of an issue, right? The challenge comes with how you want to do certain things, whether you want to use the ISC DHCP server, for example, whether you want to use Apache over Nginx, which I chose to use Nginx this time, but that was painless, where you want your directories to be, whether you want to use HTTP for your for hosting your kernel, because it's a pretty big file. Well, the RAM disk is the big file. Kernel is relatively large, but they're both okay.
There's a place I can trace every line of me.
And then any secondary folders you want to share across environments, essentially. And the cool thing about this is, if done right, you can have multiple different environments. Like, for example, tomorrow we could try setting up Arch. We could try setting up Arch the same way. Although that doesn't use Debian, does it? I can't use the bootstrap. But the idea is the same, right? I at least know that this process works for Ubuntu. And the thing that takes the longest is actually running apt install or apt upgrade. Because I made sure to use Focal on both the host and yeah, Focal LTS, so that I don't have to do this again until 2025. That's the thing that I did. Don't mind me just doing some moderation. How are we looking? 92%. Once this is done, we'll go raid. Auto fight. Yeah, we're not gonna make it to Brisbane. I'm too tired. Mm-hmm. 99%. I believe. Oh yeah, here it is generating the RAM disk. Yeah. Managed to figure out a way to manually set the IP address of the other laptop to a non-182 address so that I can check certain configs, because I do have a file on there for the RAM disk to which lists all the Hyper-V drivers I'll need. There we go. And now, if I do this, it's still the only one. Downloads. I just need the command line thing. Package something. I. I think I had a team viewer deb in there as well, but this one's the important one. Oh, errors were encountered. Depends on libatomic1. Because it can't do that itself. Voila. Tomorrow we get that fully set up. I will test it with Secure Boot later. Just to make sure it boots. It doesn't yell at me. Because the mock might be unhappy. But other than that, we did good today. So thanks for watching. I am going to raid Auto Fights. He was hanging out in the stream earlier. He's working on a basically an authoring tool. An editor for authors. In React and Electron. Been working on it for a while now. But it's looking really good. So go check him out. And other than that, I will be streaming again in the afternoon. So if you're interested, come check out them. I'm just making sure I spell his username correctly. Otherwise, Happy New Year, and I'll see you guys later. None of my hotkeys work. There we go. Oh, it's supposed to be raid, isn't it? One of them does the thing.
You finish up. I guess it's after midnight for you. It's almost 1 a.m. for you now.